Hello, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome. Welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness in the highest levels of love light. Welcome to my office. I had a quick break and so I wanted to pop on. I've done approximately 5 videos and thanks to our awesome Mercury, none of the videos had sound. So, they're never really a waste of time because whenever I share something, my energy is shifting as I share it, but it still can be a little frustrating dealing with some of the technical glitches I think a lot of people have been experiencing lately. So if you're one of those people, you're not alone. It is a thing. My intention is just to kind of share a little bit of an energy update. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this in 15 minutes, but I'm going to do my best. This will probably be video 1 of several videos that I'll do. And I might do like a longer one when I get some free time. I wanted to start off by sharing that a lot of the questions I've been getting lately in session have to do with sleeping. So I will address that just briefly, so somebody might find it helpful. And also I want to talk a little bit about the sun. And eventually I'll be sharing a picture of what I was shown in meditation of what is happening with the sun. I haven't done a video in a while like that, but essentially we are all going through upgrades. Back in 2017, I think when I started doing these videos, a lot of people were referring to these feelings and sensations that we get in our body as ascension symptoms. And I always like to think of as you move up the mountain or as you go scuba diving, for example, you have to acclimate to the difference between the previous depth to the new depth. And we are essentially expanding into a higher frequency and vibration. And as this happens, everything else is too, from one perspective. So we are receiving assistance in this from the earth, from the sun, because as within, so without. If we are ascending, so is everything outside of us, because everything is connected and we are all part of the same source frequency from one perspective. And I won't go into that too deep right now. So we'll start with keeping it simple. For those of you having trouble sleeping, I've been asked several times in session, what's wrong? What's going on? Why am I not sleeping? The simplest answer is everything is changing, therefore so too are our sleeping habits. We are not necessarily meant to work a 9-to-5 job and to sleep in the same time pockets as we have been most of our lives. And so our relationship with time is changing also. So one of the things that so I'll give a list briefly. Some of the reasons we may not be sleeping could be because we've had a lot of earth changes. We've had a full moon recently. Full moons do affect our sleep patterns. Many of us know that we don't sleep as well during a full moon. It is a fact that there are more car accidents, babies born, trouble sleeping, hospital visits during a full moon. So if we're that affected by a moon that essentially we'll say has an effect on the water on the planet and the tides, then it would only make sense that we're also equally affected, if not more so, by our star, which is the sun. The sun has been going through many different activities as of late. And I think many of us are starting to notice that we are becoming more sensitive to what's happening in our solar region. And this is something just to recognize. So another simple answer is we're having CME activity, we're having solar flares. There is an idea that unless the solar flare is earth directed, it doesn't affect us. However, from my perspective, especially if you're someone who's sensitive to it like I am, it can affect us. And while some people may argue that that's not possible, I would beg to differ. Sometimes there are things that happen that we don't quite understand, and we may not ever understand in this lifetime. And, 100 years from now, they'll look back and say, oh, guess what? I do feel when there's a lot of solar activity, my sleeping patterns shift drastically. So that could be the simple answer. And I'll give a couple quick tips on how to navigate this in just a moment. The other thing is we are electrical beings. So whatever is going on with our electricity, the internet, and I won't go into what that entails, if that is being amped up, we feel this higher amplitude, this higher wattage, and our body responds accordingly. So it could be we have a lot of electronics in our bedroom and things are being amped up with that. In addition to that, if we've never done a parasite cleanse or a heavy metal detox, now might be a good time. Heavy metals and parasites can also wake us up at night. I'm kind of just throwing all these things out there. The very simplest answer would also be because we're not exercising, we're not drinking enough water, we're not meditating, we're not breathing. And so we wake up at night in a place of anxiety because our body hasn't been given enough ample time to essentially reset, reorganize, and relax. In addition to that, around 3 a.m. approximately, and don't quote me on this, I could be a little off, our livers go through detoxification. So perhaps we might have had the holidays, had more, a bigger glass of wine than we're used to, or we ate more sugar than we were used to, and we go to sleep and all of a sudden we're up at 3 a.m. because our body is going through a detoxification process. So all of those things I just listed could be attributing to why we all are having difficulty sleeping. And it could be a combination of all of those things. It might just be one of those things. So in alignment with all of those things, as we expand and ascend or move up the scales, the harmony, the vibration, the frequency, our body has to make the appropriate adjustments and vice versa. So if we have heavy metals or toxins or parasites, and I'm not lumping them all as one because they do have different effects on the body, but let's say we have any one of those things in our body is actually naturally going through a detoxification process, according to what I've been viewing in my reading of the energy field, and also what I've been witnessing in my own body and in sessions. So as our body detoxifies, we might become more aware. The parasites and heavy metals might be more stirred up. The sun has a big impact on this, being that it is plasma, radiation, electricity, it's all connected. All of that stuff that is coming from the sun that connects to our bodies stirs our bodies up, and our bodies and everything inside of our bodies respond. So we're waking up those little bugs, and they're creating a little bit more resistance in our bodies. So we're really being called to take the appropriate measures in order to fine-tune measures, music, fine-tune, to find our tune to where we can feel a little bit more stable. The key word that I've been sharing in my previous videos that I haven't been able to post is balance. And I'm going to do another video specifically on balance. So the reason I just wanted to pop on is you're not alone. Many of us are experiencing this. Many of us will continue to experience this. The next question I get is, well, what can I do about this? Every person is an individual and unique, going through a unique expression on this journey. So for one person, they might need to do a heavy metal detox, and another person may not need to. The other reason that we might be waking up in the mornings is because we're getting the call to pay attention. My guides, my guidance team, my higher self wakes me up. I wake up at 3 a.m. And what I've learned is to let go of the resistance. And the question becomes, what if I just stayed up? What if I got out of bed right now and I did some yoga? What would that feel like? And amazingly enough, when I start to ask the what if question, it opens up my perspective to see into that potential. And then I can feel intuitively into my body to feel if that would be a good option, a good solution. Sometimes my body says, no, I just want to stay in bed, and I'll put on some music. So my helpful things are binaural beats, guided meditations, a breath whistle. You can actually buy those online where it increases the length of the exhale. I will breathe in for 5 counts and out for 10 counts, or in for 10 counts and out for 20 counts. Double the exhale while I lay there in bed, and focus on relaxing each piece, part, and whole of my body as I tune into some maybe 432 hertz binaural beats, or theta, delta, low frequency relaxing music. I find that really helpful. Other times when I ask the question, what if I were to just get up right now? My body's like, yes, let's get up. So I'll get up. And then I ask, what if I were, and I fill in the blanks. Would it feel appropriate to stretch? If we have a lot of energy moving through the body, it sometimes needs a place to go. So sometimes we're called to move and stretch and to essentially allow the energy to shift. My light is playing tricks. Oh, that's so weird. I'll just have to roll with it. I haven't figured my phone out yet, obviously. My microphone doesn't work. Sometimes it's operator error, not just Mercury retrograde. So sometimes if we're feeling twitchy, that can come from solar flares. That can also come from parasites and heavy metals. I'll get up and I'll drink 2 big glasses of water, and I'll go through a series of stretches and breath work. And when I'm done, I immediately want to go back to sleep because my body just needed to move. We are detoxing and we are moving a lot of energy through our system. And so we're really being called to assist our team, our body, our skin suit, our vessel, right? Help it move along. And so sometimes that requires us to move. Sometimes we might, taking a CBD gummy might be helpful, or a cannabis gummy if that's your cup of tea. Or speaking of cup of tea, chamomile tea. Sometimes things like valerian root can help. I can no longer take melatonin. It actually makes my system worse. So you have to kind of play with it and see what works for your body. So back to waking up. Getting up and stretching, sometimes I'll wake up and make myself a cup of chamomile tea while I write in my journal. What do I write in my journal? I will write things such as, what am I feeling right now? And work through that. I will write down poetry. I will write down a list of things I have to do that might be in my mind that I didn't realize was creating a resistance. And that leads me into the next subject, which is, are we in resistance? I know how frustrating it can be working a full day, especially if you're doing things like on your feet all day, or energy work, any type of healing work. Anything that we do where we need to be at 100%, it feels like we need that 8 hours in order to fulfill that. But essentially what I've been shown is sometimes we don't. And we can let all that information out. I'm going to do part 2 in just a minute because I'm going to put this on Instagram. So putting all of that on paper can help us find space to assist us in moving the energy. So let me go to part 2. Thank you for tuning in, and let's go into number 2 on the video.